This is a great way, in my opinion, for you to make the most of whatever amount of money you have and do something to fight inflation. You're not helpless here. This is actually a great time to really take action. When everybody else is worried about inflation so much, you're worried about it too. It's affecting you too, but that doesn't mean you should just sit there like a deer in the headlights. There's things you can do that'll make you feel a lot better. I'd like to talk about you guys, specifically because I realized, and I was talking to Jane about this, what's the best thing we can do for people who are following our information? How can they get a leg up in a time when they need it more than ever? You're feeling the brunt of inflation. You're feeling the absolutely volatile moves in oil prices. It's hard to keep up, and it's not necessarily easy to know what to do. And I realized that you guys are, many of you, are in the same situation that I was in decades ago when I got started in the financial industry. I had a bunch of jobs I didn't like, and I saved up a bunch of money. My friends bought stuff, and I just saved up. And I wanted to figure out how to make that money and make more money for me without having to do all the hard work. I wanted to have free time. I wanted my money to work for me. And I realized a good way to do that would be low-priced stocks. And this is a more important time than ever to get involved with this kind of thing. Don't think you don't have any options or any outlets here for turning a small amount of money, a few $100s into a few thousand. What a great time it would be. It's more important than ever to do it right now to help you get out from underneath the weight of the inflationary pressures and all the economic slowdown that we're all feeling.
The point is, some people are just prone to suffer more. I mean, for people who are economically well off, inflation isn't good, it's bad.
Always remember that nothing we say here should be intended as personalized trading advice for you. You need to make your own decisions. You do your own due diligence. We are going to give you our 100% honest opinion, what we believe is going to happen, and we happen to be very educated, very good at this stuff.
And I figured that a good way to do that would be to get into low-priced stocks, stocks that are $5 or less each. So technically, according to the SEC, that's a penny stock, but don't think of it that way because people have the wrong impression of what penny stocks are because they say, oh, they're really risky, and they are. And they say, oh, it's like playing the lottery, and it is, unless you know what to look at. What do you think I've been doing for the last numerous decades? All my media appearances, my books, everything was about penny stocks. I got into this big time because it's just simple if you know what to do, how to do it. And I'm going to tell you a lot about that today. A small price stock is often just the same as a large stock, only it's got more potential, volatility, more room for growth, more room to spread out their brand footprint. And when they're newer companies, they're usually cheaper, so you can get involved with them early. And what you're looking for sometimes is 10 times in value. But if you get 100% gain, 40% gain in a short window of time, that's wonderful as well. And there is a lot of risk. There is a lot of downside. Lots of times an investor in low price shares will take a hit here or there. But any company is just a company. And you can look at it and see how it's running. How are they operating? Who's steering the ship? And it's a lot of work. I know that. That's why I've built everything I've built, including the newsletter if you don't want to do the work. But in the old days, maybe some of you guys are old enough like me to remember it, we had to do this thing called reading books. There were these things called books that there wasn't the internet. So I had to get a whole bunch of different books that I researched and read and learned how to trade stocks better. After I got completely wiped out, I lost all my money in 2 weeks. So I learned how to do it the right way. And I made that money back hundreds of times over. So why don't you let me give you that knowledge, and maybe you can get a leg up on inflation and all these economic hardships that we're facing now. This channel is about helping you navigate through this economic breakdown that we're all facing right now. And understand nothing we say is intended as personalized trading advice for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a step-by-step guide how to get involved with low-priced, high-quality stocks so that you can turn a few $100s into a few thousand just by getting involved with the right kinds of companies. If you want to learn how to do the work yourself, that's great. That's what I would suggest. But it is an insane amount of work. So if you want just the stock picks, we'll give them to you too, so you save some time. But in general, I just want you to understand how to proceed. If you're a newbie or a brand new investor trying to get into penny stocks or stocks $5 and under each, You want to get into that for the first time? This is a step-by-step way to do that. And I do believe it'll really help you turn whatever amount of money you have into something more significant, which is what you should all be trying to do right now. And people get distracted by the whole thing. They got distracted by thinking that the way to get a leg up was through cryptocurrencies. And for many of you it was. For most of you it wasn't. So then you give up, or you hope that cryptos will turn around. Maybe they will. But I'm saying in the meantime, you're missing opportunities here. There are tremendous, incredible companies to get involved with that you could get involved with right now as the business grows. And as I always tell you, as the business continues to grow and roll out their footprint, the share price very often follows suit to higher levels. As we're about to roll into Thanksgiving, between Thanksgiving and the holidays is always a very quiet time of year. This makes it the perfect time for this video because nobody else has their eye on this stuff right now. The people who are going to do the best are the ones who are taking action when nobody else is. I hired Tammy in the global financial crisis when I had no business hiring anyone, when no one was hiring anyone. So I put out the call for an employee. I got 40 resumes the first day and a half. Sometimes there's value in doing things when no one else is doing it. No one's going to be watching their eye on the ball. They're all looking towards Thanksgiving. They're all looking towards the holidays. And you're all busy too. This is a great time to pick up some values, especially as we roll into the end of the year where you're going to have a lot of tax loss selling, where stock's down and people just sell it even more to actualize the trading loss to offset some of their taxes they'd have to pay. And that makes stocks that are already down a bit go down lower. It's a perfect time of year for penny stocks, low price stocks, $5 and under, thinly traded investments to get involved in some of those stocks that other people are overlooking right now. So let's get into it. I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide how to get started from scratch in penny stocks. And I want you to understand, this is a great way, in my opinion, for you to make the most of whatever amount of money you have and do something to fight inflation. You're not helpless here. This is actually a great time to really take action. When everybody else is worried about inflation so much, you're worried about it too. It's affecting you too, but that doesn't mean you should just sit there like a deer in the headlights. There's things you can do that'll make you feel a lot better. That's what this video is about. Now, this is a getting started in low price shares guide, 15-step guide on peterleeds.com. I'm going to go through it really quickly, and I'll skip over a bunch of the stuff that's a bit more fluffy. Does investing make sense for you? Be realistic. A lot of people will think if I invest $500 in this penny stock, it'll make $20,000 in a short window of time. Don't think of it that way. First, you got to get one profitable trade, whether it's 5%, 10%, whatever. Do that first, and then you grow on that. You get better. I always say get 1% better per trade. And this applies to all kinds of investing, not just penny stocks, low price shares, stocks $5 and under. And as I mentioned earlier, in the old days, we had to read books. So if you want to learn about investing in penny stocks, there's Understanding Penny Stocks, Invest in Penny Stocks, and Penny Stocks for Dummies. And I always suggest you start by paper trading, whether you're talking about low price shares or big companies. When I got wiped out in 2 weeks when I started trading, I had to paper trade. I didn't have any money left. So I pretended I had $100,000, got a piece of paper and a pen, and I wrote down what stock I would buy, how much of it, why I thought it was going to go higher, where it's going to go. And there's all the value when you say, okay, this stock is going to double in price within the year, and it goes down 50% in price. It teaches you something. You have a learning. Why did you think it was going one way and then it went the other way? You find out what that is. That's a landmine that you avoid next time. You get better and better. Make it 1% better every trade. And if you change your angle by 1%, where you end up is so far, depending how far out you go. Just by getting 1% better per trade, your final destination will be a lot better the longer out you go. And this is your decision if you want to do this, but I always say set some goals. Look for what you're trying to do and then see how close you come to actually doing it. And the success in this game, the way it works, is if you get involved, you own shares in a company that is healthy, outperforming its peers, all these things you can look at. How much debt do they have? How much revenues are they bringing in? All these things you can look at that tells you the whole story. And it's not like it used to be. You can get all the information you need online in 2 seconds. Try doing it the old way when it was a time before internet, and then internet became dial-up. and it was brutal. But here's another big important step that I love, whether you're trading low price stocks or high price stocks, blue chips or penny stocks. Try to find a losing investment. Do not put real money into it. Just try to find that. You say, here's a stock I think will decline in price. By how much? By when? Watch it and see if you're right. You'd be amazed how much better of an investor you become by trying to understand how to find a stock that's going to decline in value. This is an overlooked tactic that I suggest everybody get involved with. Picking a losing stock. And especially with penny stocks and why they have such a bad name, it's up to you to decide on which sources of investments are you going to rely upon. I think you should do all the research and analysis yourself, but if you don't, and you're not going to subscribe to the peterleeds.com newsletter because you're going to do it on your own, it is so important that you choose the right sources of information to give you leads into what kinds of stocks to invest in. Especially with easily manipulated low-price shares, thinly traded stocks, there's so much manipulation and hidden motivations. So many services and websites and newsletters are telling you this stock is good because of this. Here's a pig with lipstick on it, and they get people to buy into it. That's not how to invest, and you will almost always lose. I'd say 95% of the time you will lose if you just follow free stock picks. And that is the reason why most investors in small stocks and penny stocks lose money and give it a bad name. Because they get a free stock pick, they think they're saving money, they put money into that stock, and then they lose that money. Makes a lot more sense to do it right in the first place, even if there is a few dollars to get some good information. And again, with any kind of investing, whether we're talking about blue chip stocks or penny stocks, shares $5 and under, decide on which industries you are going to focus on. The more you focus, the greater your results will be. There's a lot of industries: energy, precious metals, materials, industrials, base metals, consumer discretionary, information technology, healthcare, financials, telecom, and utilities. If you choose one of those, there's plenty of options to invest in, whichever one you are the most familiar with. If you work in the oil and gas industry, that's what you should be focusing on. That's your hidden secret weapon. You have more knowledge than everybody else that is possibly looking, oh, I'll buy this, I'll buy that. They go on CNBC, and every day they're telling you 6 different stocks to buy. Who's got the money for that? You choose an industry group or two that you're passionate about, that you care about, that you know about, and that's the industry group you should be focusing on. Read the trade publications, know everything about that industry, then you'll know which investments in that industry are going to pay off the most, which are in the best situations. You combine your knowledge with the internet's ability to give you all the information you need, and then you get a helping hand from someone like, oh, I don't know, the Peter Leeds team, just to even give you the free information. We've got a lot of free stuff that'll tell you how to get involved with investing well. It's all about surviving inflation, surviving this economic hardship, and a big thing to do, an important thing to do right now is figure out how you're going to turn small amounts of money into larger amounts of money. Because if you don't do that, then you're just like everybody else, just watching this whole economic clown show play out. What you want to do is take action now when nobody else is and land on your feet in a better place. When you come out the other side, if you do that in a good way, then you'll be much more secure on the other side of the calamity that is approaching us. Don't think because there's a lot of economic hardships that you shouldn't be trying to get a leg up now, doing clearly evident things that I can prove to you are very lucrative if you know how to get involved with them. And whenever you're ready to make your first trade, do it gradually. Don't just invest all your money into one stock. Unless you only have a couple $100, then do all your money into one stock. In my opinion, I'm not giving you trading advice at all. But you invest the money in that stock and then you wait and watch. You see what happens. You give it a day. You give it a week. You give it a month if you have to. A lot of these stocks, especially when they're consolidating in a good range where they're about to burst out of that, they're going to trade basically range bound or sideways for a long time. That is one of the best times to get involved with any stock, is when it's consolidating, trading sideways with a lot of volume. It's getting stronger and stronger. The spring is just coiling up more and more. And then when it finally does break out, which you would know because you understand how businesses work and you learned about the company itself and why it's going to be making more money, that's when they break out and it's really lucrative. There's no better way in my mind, and this is why I always focused on this and I gravitated to this so much. That's why I put so many books about penny stocks out. That's why the newsletter, the courses, it's all about penny stocks, because I believe that it's one of the best ways for an average person to turn a few $100s into a few thousand. And if you're banking on cryptocurrencies and that's not working out so well, don't be scared of investing. Be scared of bad investments, bad penny stocks, other cryptocurrencies if you want to. But be optimistic and don't give up on investing. There's so many. I'm giving you all the tools you need. I've done decades of this information. I've learned everything. And now I'm presenting it to you. What you want to do, take whatever money you have and invest it in a really high quality company that's going places. And it's actually quite simple, because when you invest in the stock, you don't have to go to work there. You don't have to do anything. You just invest and go take a nap. And there's always the big home run, the grand slams that will go up 10 times in value, more, 20 times in value. I've found a few of those in my day. You only have to find one or two of those in your entire life. So if you want to get into all of this, you can start by subscribing to this channel. And if you want to get even deeper and really look into this, just go to peterleeds.com. We got a whole bunch of free information for you so that you can get started from scratch in trading penny stocks, low price shares, and in fact, even blue chip companies and big stocks as well. Just like Penny Stocks for Dummies, the third edition, well, all the editions, it applies to blue chip stocks as much as penny stocks. But the book was about the aspects that are unique to penny stock investing. It is a different game, not as different as you think, not as risky as you think. It's actually a lot of fun and more lucrative than you probably realize.